Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
And welcome back to Those Were the Days, where it's been just over a week into 2026 and we all just want to take it back to the store and return it for a better one. But instead, we just watch comfort TV and see if it holds up. I'm your host, Audie, and with a new year, it's a new month, which also means a new theme for us. And we're going to try something a little bit different this time. We're going to do an entire month on just one show. One show that has been coming up a lot, frequently requested, frequently we're saying we'll get there, people, we are there. We're doing it. But before we do it, let me introduce my fellow podcasters in arms. First, it's the head nurse, Amy Soothing Voice Frost.
Guys, I think this is going to be a really long month for me.
Second, the best surgeon this side of Saigon, it's Stephen Flat Cheeks Adams.
For a limited time only, you can purchase Hawkeye's Guide to Women. What do they want? You in their space at all times. Can't get in their space? Sneak into their footlocker when they aren't home. They love that. Remember, it's not stalking. You're just trying to be at the same place they are at the same time. Good luck out there, guys.
It's not stalking if you're pretty.
And last but certainly not least, the best company clerk around, it's Travis Lidar Crawford.
Attention all personnel. Attention all personnel. Please report to the podcasting studio immediately.
Folks, we didn't plan that. I promise you.
That's good.
Did not, but
Not at
get
all.
used to it. Might be happening all month.
So in case it wasn't clear enough, yes, we are finally going to cover MASH. And yes, we're all covering the show this month. We're going to try and we'll try to spread the info dump about the show. I'm going to start us off with the pilot. We'll start from the very beginning because we always talk about how much shows evolve from the pilot. So I figured we'd start there. And then everybody else will take an episode. And we'll cover a lot of MASH and talk about it a lot, which feels kind of cathartic given 2026. Anyways, as we normally do, let's go ahead and talk about where MASH lands in everyone's watch history. Steven, what about you?
Never, not a day in my life have I watched MASH, which is weird because so many people have pointed me to it as a show that I would like. I've been in this classic TV game vocally, maybe not in a podcast, but I've always told people how much I love shows. And generally people will come up to me when I'm talking about that and be like, did you ever watch MASH? No. And I never have. And so I'm very thankful to be entering into this month because I've been told my whole life that this is right up my alley and I just have never gone there.
And we've had a few shows like that over the course of this podcast where it's been surprising that Stephen especially hasn't seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And this one to me is probably the most surprising because it feels so much like a Stephen show to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you said, I haven't seen any MASH, I was like,
Not a moment of it.
until
Like
now.
an 80s show, we all go, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
That's what you knew.
Right. But this was right in the pocket of my favorite era of television. And nope.
Amy, what about you?
My dad was a huge fan of MASH, but I never really watched it. And then, like, you know, he's like, as a kid, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then as an adult, I don't particularly care for war stories, and I definitely don't care for medical stories. And while I understand that those are both just framing devices for interpersonal character study, it's still, you know, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I've ever watched MASH previously. I've seen bits.
Sure.
I've seen the Futurama bit about it. Like I understand the references.
Uh-huh.
I know the theme song.
Right. Travis, what about you?
I definitely watched MASH growing up. It was one that my dad and mom both liked to watch. I did see a thing recently where it was just a still frame of the helicopters.
Mhm.
And it was when you heard this song as a kid, that meant it was time to go to bed.
Oh, wow.
Because that does make sense. Like that's when MASH would come on. It was after sort of the whatever night of the week it was. I don't remember. But I definitely watched a lot of reruns of it. More so, I would say, as a kid, I watched a lot of the later seasons in reruns because I definitely remember Colonel Potter, and
Right.
which is when we get to Colonel Potter, Stephen, you'll understand why I'm so surprised you hadn't seen this show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll say that right now.
Uh-huh.
But I remembered him, and I remembered just like Klinger and those things, and a lot of that stuff that happened later in the series. But my old roommate was a big fan of MASH and went through years ago when it was on Netflix and was watching them,
Right.
just binge watching every night episodes of MASH. And so I got real into the first couple of seasons again and realized how great those were for me. So yeah, it was a show that I watched quite a bit.
Nice. For me, I didn't watch it regularly growing up. I knew it was on. I knew there were, adults that watched it. I think I'm kind of like you, Amy. It's like, yeah, not for me as a kid. But I definitely saw it here and there. I think I saw a lot of it on TBS in between Braves games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know about the finale because at some point I found out about that or heard about it, and then I hadn't watched parts of it enough to get the reference. Be like, oh yeah, damn, okay. And if you're a fan of the morning stream at all and hear Scott and Brian ever talk at all, MASH comes up frequently because they're both big fans, Scott especially. So it's, there's also that. And it's just, it's one of the most decorated series of television ever produced. So it's hard not to know about it and know the zeitgeist about it,
It's also one of those times where a movie became a television show, and the television show well outstretched and surpassed what the film was,
right,
in a way that it doesn't happen that often. And the movie wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's a Robert Altman movie. It's got Donald Sutherland in it and Elliot Gould and Robert Duvall. It's got a great cast, and it was good. But there was something about the series that just took it to another level. In part being on the air for 12 years or whatever it was.
I don't think there's any property that's matched that. The only thing close that I know of personally is the West Wing being the leftovers of what was the American President. That's where the West Wing
the
came
Shadows did pretty well.
That's
yeah.
true. Yep.
That's a great modern example of
Never mind,
a
it was
show,
right.
a series. even having not watched much of that series, I understand enough about it, and I
Yeah.
know more people that know it from the series than they do from the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great example.
What a fascinating casting change, though. Going from the movie, I'd maybe love to watch the movie after we cap off this month, just so I can get a
Sure.
bearing for it. But Donald Sutherland's remarkably different than Alan Alda, and then you mentioned Elliot Gould and Robert Duvall, and I'm like, who would those guys even be? I don't see
Right.
them playing it like these guys played these characters. It's kind of blowing my mind a little.
So the movie was Sutherland as Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Elliot Gould was Trapper John.
Right.
Duvall played Frank, Major Frank Burns. There was one holdover, though.
though.
Yeah, Rene Aubergenois played the Father Mulcahy. The one holdover was Gary Radar.
Yeah.
Radar
Wow.
was played by the same guy in the
Yep.
movie and then the series, and then he actually came back and played Radar again. They did a spin-off series called After MASH that only lasted a season, and they were going to do another spin-off called Walter about Radar, and that only ever got a pilot.
Yeah.
Well, you can't end MASH, and I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it eventually, but you can't end MASH the finale. Again, I don't know. I never watched it, but it was a cultural moment. Everybody talks about the finale of MASH
There's a joke in the Golden Girls about
Yeah.
the finale of MASH.
Yeah, it's you can't
It's-
end it with that, whatever it was, because I haven't
It's
seen
the
it.
most watched episode of television that's not the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah, ever. That's
ever.
crazy.
Still
then
ever. I looked that up. It's
still in the top. And then to go
still
from
number
that
one.
and be like, we're gonna do more of it. It's like, I don't know.
right.
There were 3 different attempted spin-offs because there was After
Mhm.
MASH that had Colonel Potter. There was
Mhm.
Walter. And then there was also a spin-off that was Trapper John MD.
Wow.
Right.
However, the weird thing is it was a different actor playing Trapper John in that. And we'll kind of talk about it later, but like MASH was a very ensemble thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so some characters left over the course of the series. And,
Mhm.
Trapper John was one of them. But no, it's just crazy to think of like the legacy of MASH.
Yeah.
And it started as a novel in, I think, 68, became a movie in 70.
1968. The novel was called MASH, a novel about 3 Army doctors by Richard Hooker, was made into the film in 70.
Mhm.
So, and then Larry Gelbart created the television show in 1972. So it was produced by 20th Century Fox because they produced the film, but it aired on CBS. And it went from 72 to 83.
It's a long run.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And like we
mean-
said, it's an ensemble cast. It's usually referred to as a comedy, drama, dramedy, comedy, dark comedy, dramedy, all of those things, because it did everything. And
Mhm.
somehow it managed to make it work so well. Like, we'll get to it with this pilot, but I was blown away with how good this pilot was.
Yeah.
Of just dropping us right in there.
This
I
might have
like
been one
that-
of the best pilots that we've seen since Cheers.
It was a really good pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that MASH was 4 times longer than the actual Korean War.
Mhm.
I love that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It takes place over like a 3-year Korean War, but it ran for 11 years,
12
Right.
years.
12 years. It's just nuts.
And the funny, ironic thing about it is the early seasons aired on network primetime while the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah.
So this show was forced to walk a fine line about talking about war and everything, while at the same time not seeming to protest against it. But still, they still managed to talk about it using comedy and everything at their disposal, and really grapple with America's role in the Cold War and everything up to that point and after. Funny enough, it struggled in the ratings its first season and almost risked being canceled. It got moved to a different time slot in season 2 and became one of the top 10 shows of the year and stayed in the top 20 for the rest of its run.
Wow.
Now, normally you hear of like a show being popular early on, and then at some point it starts to fade and the network moves it, and then it just dies a slow death or drops off a cliff. So it's really cool to see one get moved to a better time slot and just flourish.
Right. So one other thing I want to talk about, because we're going to cover so much stuff, so I didn't want to info dump too much right now before talking about the show, because I know we'll talk about all the actors and everything. One thing I wanted to talk about specifically is the title sequence and theme song. Especially with, it's funny, when I was watching the pilot, I was like, did they skip the theme song for this? No, the pilot episode, they do a cold open into the theme, which
Mhm.
was
So good.
so good. And it was funny because I remember looking up the theme song and I knew it had lyrics, and I didn't realize that the lyrical version was used in the movie specifically.
Yep.
It was written for the movie, actually. And it was so good they made it the title sequence, the theme for the movie, and then the TV series as well. So that's just super interesting. The song is called "Suicide is Painless," and it was written by for one of the actors playing Private Seaman in the movie during a part of the movie where there was a faux suicide during a film of The Last Supper, or the Last Supper scene in the film.
Mm.
So when director Robert Altman was making the movie, he knew he wanted this kind of song in this kind of spot in the movie. He had 2 stipulations about the song for composer Johnny Mandel. It had to be called "Suicide is Painless," and it had to be the stupidest song ever written. So
Interesting notes.
yeah, Mandel wrote the music for it. Altman tried to write the lyrics himself, but he found it too difficult for his 45-year-old brain. So to write something stupid enough, he gave it to his 15-year-old son, Michael, who reportedly wrote the lyrics in 5 minutes.
Outstanding.
That's pretty good.
And like I said, Altman later decided that the song worked so well that he used it in the film's main theme. And it was released as a single attributed to the MASH. And it's funny, Altman said that while he only made $70,000 for directing the movie, his son earned more than $1 million for co-writing the song.
That's outstanding.
So good.
Yeah. And I won't get into it here, but go ahead and go look up the song lyrics, and you'll see what they were talking about. It's interesting because I see how it's like a stupid lyrics, but at the same time, knowing the context of the film and this series and everything, you're just like, yeah, it's stupid, but it's still gut wrenching at the same time. But then for the TV version, they went with instrumental versions. The lyrics
And I
were never
mean,
used for the show.
It's just like we've talked about time and time again. It started playing in this episode, and I was right back looking at my old cabinet TV, watching this, just sitting there. It took me right back. It was amazing.
That was the thing. Like, I think I watched more MASH than I thought I did, because when I was looking up the songs just to hear them, and I looked up the one for the main title sequence of the series, I knew every single movement that was going on. Those choppers coming in, everybody running out of tents, running to the choppers,
Yep.
when the names popped up, all that stuff. I was like, damn, this is in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I love a good cold open that establishes many of your characters right away.
Right.
In just quick shorthand, and my favorite being Radar,
I love
where they're all
Radar.
standing around, and Radar's like, hang on, because he can hear the
He
choppers
hears it
coming,
before
and no
everybody
one
else,
else
yeah.
can.
One quick thing, I got to talk about Radar for just a second, because the actor that played him, I forget what his name was, and I don't have it. But he spoke about the difference of Radar between the movie and the TV show.
Yep.
Like in the movie, he was supposed to be this more just dark, gloomy, war as hell kind of character. And then when they got to the TV show and that dynamic changed with the actors they had and the way they were really portraying this for the show, he realized he needed to change along with it. And he himself was like, okay, let's make Radar more of the naive character among all of these people. So it was really interesting, Gary Berghoff, to hear him talk about that and owning that character the way he did. So, but yeah, so let's get into it. Cold open, Korea, 1950, like 100 years ago, comes up
So good.
That's so clever.
as Hawkeye and John are playing golf, or hitting golf balls, and we're just like, okay, they're goofing off, and we kind of get a glimpse into everybody's character. We get what is it? Houlihan and Burns each reading while under the table they're playing footsie.
That was funny.
Just all the different characters doing different stuff while they have downtime, until Radar all of a sudden hears the helicopters, is like telling everybody, get ready, and they're like, what? And then I love how I was like, are we gonna get the and as soon as he gets ready, turns around, there's the theme song footage of the helicopters coming in, and it's like they just went right into it.
That captured me. Like sometimes we watch a show and I watch it and it's hard for it to hook me quite, so I won't pay attention when I should be, and I'll come back into it. Like this hooked me from the start, because I thought the stuff they were doing was really fun. I'm like, oh, this is pretty funny. And then the dramatic shift when they're bringing soldiers in, I thought brilliant. I'm in. And even in that, they sprinkled in a little comedy, because they had two people, one person leaving the no male personnel showers, and then a dude walks out after. I'm like, okay.
Or I love that they were hitting golf balls into a minefield.
A minefield.
That was fun. Yeah, the football, the minefield, the dude running out of the showers, like with his shirt wrapped around him, like because he had to go get ready.
Yeah,
it was such a cool visual storytelling kind of thing. I love that.
And one other little quick note just about the title. The asterisks in the name are not part of military nomenclature and were creatively introduced in the novel and used only in the posters for the movie version.
Huh.
Never in the actual movie.
Yep. And
So-
MASH is Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Right. And this particular one is the 4077th MASH in Korea. So then we get the helicopters in and then they go to work. And I liked appreciated how they were like, yes, we can be funny, but at this point, this is when everybody's going to work. There's still funny bits about the way they're talking to each other, you know, while as they're operating. It's definitely a show of its time. There's definitely some chauvinism in there, and it's
Some.
just like, yep, okay,
Just a little bit.
sure.
How about the whole
Right.
plot of this particular episode?
And
Sure.
when you think about it, like it's not only a show of its time when it was produced, but also of its time when it was set and then its location.
Right.
Very
at that
true.
too.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
layer all those on top, and it's just like, okay,
Well, and
Sure.
and the episode
Sure.
that we watched and the source we got it from, the laugh track was removed. I don't know the history
Yeah.
of the laugh track in MASH, but the laugh track being removed made everything just a little bit weirder than it probably would have been with a laugh
Right.
going on, and you could kind of be like, oh, ho, ho. I mean, it'd still be weird and gross sometimes, but you're just there's something that laugh brings you that lightens it up a little bit. Where I'm watching
Yeah.
it going, that's a bit creepy. The thing that just
Yeah.
happened there.
but I love
Yeah.
it because we immediately get Hawkeye and Burns like bickering
Mm-hmm.
while they're doing surgery.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. On the laugh track, the creators, they didn't want it, but the network made them put it in there,
Okay.
except for during the surgical sequences.
Okay, so it's to separate your comedy moments
Uh-huh.
from your drama bits.
Mhm.
Got it. That's useful.
So yeah, so we get them all in surgery. Everybody's going back and forth about it because apparently they were in there for 12 hours.
Ugh.
And we get Hawkeye's voiceover letter to his dad telling us how this goes, that their job is to keep a person alive. Period. Like that's their job, that's their duty where they're at. It's par surgery, a live patient. And
That's a good line.
we see tensions being kind of high and everybody trying to do their job that way and do that. We get through the surgical part and they all start coming out.
Well, my favorite bit in there is at one point, I don't remember who it is because I'm bad with names, but the nurse hands him a clamp.
Yeah,
He's like, "Well, I didn't ask for this." He goes, I didn't want this." Well, yeah, but that's what you asked for. Okay, well, give me what I want, not what I asked for.
It's like doing an
Right.
oil change with
It's
your
like, oh
dad.
boy.
Yep. And that was Major Frank Burns, played by Larry Linville. And
Mhm.
he is the foil
Yeah.
in these early seasons. And Larry Linville, just so perfect
yeah,
as this. It's just everything about him is exactly what you want in the foil for this, where he's not a bad guy by any stretch. He's a good guy and he's a decent doctor,
Mhm.
but he's just a dingus. And he's just so difficult to work with. And
Right.
and Hawkeye and Trapper John have to share a tent with him and can't stand him, and they're just the polar opposites, and it's great because they just
Right.
make his life hell.
Mhm.
It's so perfect. But yeah, that is such a good moment of telling you exactly who he is.
Right.
No, give me what I want, not what I asked for. Ugh.
So we get through the surgeries, we come out, and they start going at it, Burns
Mhm.
and Hawkeye and stuff. And I love this line from Hawkeye when he's telling them, "You're an officer, you should act like it." He's like, "I'm only an officer because I foolishly opened a letter from President Truman to come to this costume party."
So good.
That was a good
Just-
line.
If anything encompasses Hawkeye more than that, I don't know what.
Yeah, because that's the other thing to think about with especially the show is that Hawkeye was drafted
Mhm.
and became an officer, and he's a captain.
Mhm.
And Burns is a career military guy, and he's a major. He outranks him, and he makes sure he knows that all the time. But Hawkeye would rather be anywhere in the world than where he is.
Yeah.
but he's really good at what he does.
I'm watching this and hearing these lines, and Alan Alda has a way of being sarcastic and cynical and endearing at the same time.
Mhm.
'Cause he's calling it
he
like,
really does.
this is such crap, and I'm just here, and I don't have time for ranks and this nonsense.
Right.
And I just can't, in my mind, think of Donald Sutherland delivering anything like this quite as well. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to think about the movie a lot or what that character would do, but Alan Alda's a master at that. It reminds me a lot of Alan Arkin's delivery with stuff. Alan's apparently good at this kind of thing.
I will say, though, younger Donald Sutherland, like early 70s Donald Sutherland could pull this off.
I'm thinking I've got like Outbreak at best, Donald Sutherland in my mind.
Sure. And that's a very different, by that point, he was a very different actor.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So we come out, Hawkeye and Trapper John go back to their tent.
The swamp.
The swamp, to just kind of chill out after everything. And then they've got their local houseboy who manages the tent for them, Ho-Jun. And did anybody else recognize Ho-Jun?
No.
We've seen him before.
He looked. Was he in Magnum PI? Is that what I'm thinking of? Okay, because I know there would have been crossover there, but
nope, he was in the Brady Bunch. He was David.
Oh yeah, look
Oh,
at him.
that's what. Okay,
David.
Yes. Perfect.
So,
love it.
So he comes in, serves the boys a couple of cocktails of their own. Whatchamacallit?
They got a gin still.
Yeah, they're gin still.
So they're smart. They got taste.
So they're kicking back. They're getting mail.
Where are they getting juniper?
It's better if you don't ask.
So they're getting their mail. John gets a letter from his wife. Doesn't understand why she still loves him and cares for him. They make a joke about, didn't he have this whole plot to go to Korea and, be with other women to get away from her? He's like, yeah, but I didn't think she'd figure it out.
Wayne Rogers, by the way, Wayne Rogers as Trapper John is great.
Mm-hmm.
I really like, he and Alda work so well off of each other.
They really did. And then we get Hawkeye getting a letter from his alma mater that he wrote to and helped get Ho-Jun accepted as a student there. They just have to come up with $1,000 for the tuition and travel.
Which, yes, you asked, and I will answer.
Mhm.
What was $1,000 in 1950? $13,000. Woo!
That's a lot of free gin.
That's a lot of raffle tickets.
I already thought it was a lot of raffle tickets
Yeah.
based off of the amount that they made. Like, regardless of what that money actually is. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
13,000. They really want a date and a weekend off.
So they have to raise that money somehow, and so they decided to raffle off. What do they raffle off? They raffle off some weekend passes, a trip to Tokyo with one nurse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they go to talk to Colonel Blake about it so they can get the weekend passes.
My other favorite character early in this show. I love Radar and I love Colonel Henry Blake.
It's Radar though, and before they get there.
Right.
Yes.
It's Radar being so incredible.
Being
he's just
so
precious.
on top of it.
Just everybody needs a Radar, man.
Oh yeah.
And
you just do.
It's such a great running bit with Radar, like knowing exactly what Colonel Blake needs at any point, even when Blake doesn't know.
Right.
And so he has it for him, like right there. And the thing with Radar, like just showing up and Blake turning around and almost running into him, being like, Radar, I told you got to stop doing that. Like almost he's not sneaking up on him, but Blake is just so. Blake was like just out there on his own, kind of in his own world all the time. And McLean Stevenson is so good as Henry Blake.
Right. And it's funny that Colonel Blake, the colonel of the company, compared to Burns, understands Hawkeye and Trapper so much more.
Yep.
And he's just like, okay, guys, what's in it for you this time? Like he knows that they're asking for a favor for a reason and wondering what they're up to. There's got to be more to it.
Why don't I trust you?
Yeah,
Because we're not
exactly.
trustworthy.
That's the funny part. They just own it. They're because it's us.
Yeah.
By the way,
So-
gang, Big Bird's teddy bear radar was in fact named by Carol Spinney after Radar from MASH.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
I
Well, and
do.
we didn't see it here, but Radar has his teddy bear with him in Korea
Right.
throughout the whole series. Because that was one of the things that was, aside from the fact that the show takes place over the 3-year Korean War, but it's 12 years of television, is Radar is supposed to be like 17.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I think at this point, Gary is in his late 20s already.
Yeah.
And by the time he left the show, like his hairline had receded north quite a ways. But yeah, I love Radar and I love Colonel Blake so much.
Mhm.
Just because like Blake he's a competent medical guy. He's a terrible officer
Mhm.
in terms of like military, but he's great for morale because he understands the people really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think-
And we didn't get it here, but I to this day, when if I'm out and somebody says, my name or whatever, I always respond like Blake did with like, yo. Because it'd be like, Colonel Blake, yo. It was-
You mentioned
his
something
fishing hat.
that stood out to me early on in the show is so many military things that we watch have people in their 30s and 40s as the
Mhm.
soldiers
Mhm.
involved in whatever it is. And I love
Right.
that when we're in the surgical room in the opening, Hawkeye's keep saying this kid, another kid, because
Right.
you
About the
primarily
soldiers,
are
yeah.
looking at 17 to 24-year-old
Yeah.
Mhm.
men,
Yep.
kids, effectively being dragged. And I thought that was a really subtle but really good use. They didn't say another man. It's like literally another kid to
Mhm.
him,
Right.
coming in
Or
for help.
just, didn't try to soften it as just another soldier. They were a
Sure.
kid
Yeah.
on his table.
Yeah. I thought
Well,
that
and-
was really cool.
And Audie, you mentioned it, but like the way he's framing it, telling his dad in his letter, yeah, it seemed like I was cynical the last time, but you got to understand our job is just to keep them alive long enough for someone else to actually fix things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like we're just patching the tire so that they can roll it to the actual hospital.
They're like stationary
Um,
EMTs with a little
Yeah.
bit more surgery to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Stabilize.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they convince Blake to give them the passes. And they're like, okay, so which nurse are we going to get for this thing? And Hawkeye knows exactly which nurse. Lieutenant, quote unquote, Dish.
Incredible.
Another carryover from the movie.
Mhm.
All the characters in this pilot are pulled from the movie
Yeah.
initially.
And Lieutenant Dish is someone Hawkeye is very, very familiar with.
The absurdity of this little montage, like as it went along,
It's
Yes.
really funny.
it just kept elevating, and it was so funny when the Footlocker opens up and it's him with just like the Groucho
Just-
Marx eyebrows.
Yeah. Essentially doing like the Dracula out of his coffin
Yeah.
thing.
And
Yeah.
she's just having none of it, just closes in on him like, oh.
And apparently she's engaged and trying to be faithful.
Mm-hmm. Apparently so.
Trying, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. So then later on, we get Hawkeye and Trapper who finally get into an argument with Burns in the tent. And, he just can't let it go that they're not professional enough, not military enough for him. And they're like, you know what, whatever. Until he picks up their still.
Mhm.
Don't do that.
And
Bad
they're like,
idea.
yeah. And it just gets to the point where he gets so mad he just throws it down and busts it. So they put a bag over his head and just throw him out of the tent.
I like that a lot.
So at that point, things are escalating so much that Blake has to take away the passes and cancel the party that they had planned. Otherwise, Frank will complain to the General Hammond, um, who Colonel Blake incidentally has to go see. And he was kind of nervous about the party in the first place. But as he's leaving, Radar
Good old
steps up.
Radar.
This is how good it is. He tricked Henry into signing the 2 passes anyways,
Because he thought he was ordering a ton of ice cream.
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
So good.
And it's, I mean, and it works because we had the scene earlier with
Yeah, we
Radar
saw
and
him.
Blake. So we know how that dynamic works.
Here,
Right,
you
and he'll
wanted
just-
these. Why did you
Yeah.
bring me these? You wanted these. Yeah, I was going to ask you for those. All right, you wanted me to take those. All right, thanks. I need that
Yeah.
so much.
Yep. So the party's on, except that Burns is in charge while Blake's gone. He's like, no party at all, until they inject him with a sedative. And
I
hide him
was so
somewhere.
bothered by everything that happened there. I was like, oh no, this is
I mean,
bad.
It is, but it's also hilarious. Like, you want to hear something weird? Come check this out. And so, of course, Burns goes to check it out,
Incredible.
and he gets him he sticks him with the needle, and just Larry Linville at this moment, just the little squeaks that he made.
So good.
It's so good. And just the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh, but
So-
that needle was so big.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm
we
not
wanted
a
to make sure
doctor,
you
so
saw
it
it.
scares me. But I'm sure a medical person. Oh yeah, we sedate each other all the time.
Mhm.
It's great.
So they sedated him, wrapped his face in bandages, and put him in a bed in post-op, prescribing a dose of sedative every hour just to make
That
sure.
seems like a lot.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
That seems
Wi-
like a lot. It gets pretty funny later, but that
I
seems
do
like
hope
a
that
lot.
dose went down in strength, because that was
Yeah.
fast acting. And
So fast.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
went. Count backwards from
Oh,
100.
hey, what's
Whoa.
the matter? Oh, you're not feeling well? All right, yeah. No, you come
Yep.
sit here. Oh,
Yep. So the party's going on, but Margaret Houlihan is upset because she can't find Frank. Because we've seen from the beginning they've got something going on.
Mhm.
So she's of course suspicious of Hawkeye and Trapper, because she should be.
she should be. Everyone should be at all
Everyone.
times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something weird going on? Yeah. Talk to them.
And I mean, you can be on board, but like you should know.
Mhm.
Just be aware.
Yeah.
So while they're having a party, she decides to call General Hammond, who apparently is a former lover of hers.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so excited to hear from her that he wants to come on over. So while that's going around, Hawkeye announces that they've raised $18,000.
1,800.
1,800, sorry.
But $1,800 at $10 a pop is so much.
It really
That's
is.
so much
Mhm.
money.
So, and the winner of the raffle that he fixed is Father Mulcahy.
So this is good because earlier, Trapper John and Hawkeye are talking, and John thinks that he's gonna make it so that Hawkeye wins, and he's like, they will
Right.
kill you. Like you'll need the money because they will kill you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because he
And-
thinks that's the only way that she'll agree to do it.
Right.
Yeah, and even
this
she is
such
like,
a good loophole.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and even she says, like, you know, it's going to end up being you or something like that. She accuses you know Hawkeye of
No.
that. So
And he was like, "Don't worry, you won't have to spend any time with who wins, because
So smart.
you got
Genius.
Father Mulcahy,
Mhm.
who I just have to go back for a second. And his introduction was him passed out, taking a nap while still doing.
So good. He
The-
swats
He
at
swatted
a
a
fly,
fly
and
and
the
then-
sign of the cross.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I loved it.
But just as Hawkeye's announcing that he won, in walks General Hammond, and everybody's mad at Hawkeye and Trapper.
Sure.
Margaret walks in with Frank, who's still sedated, and
Okay, we
screams at
do
them.
see at one point because everybody's at the party, and for some reason, I guess Radar drew the short straw to like check in. Like you see him
Right.
like give
yeah.
the injection, but he's like got his eyes closed.
Mhm.
So good.
And everybody's mad. Hammond demands that they be arrested, but just
They're gonna be
as that's coming,
court-martialed right here. You're gonna serve your time right here, because
Mhm.
otherwise it's like, great, where are we going?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh,
Tokyo?
we get to go, get out
Great.
of this place. Awesome.
Phenomenal. Win-win.
And just as that's happening, that's when Hawkeye's like, "Yep, you'll have to do that later because we have
Radar's
a
little
job
ears
to do."
perk up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, Radar
His little
hears it
pup, his
before
little
anybody.
prairie dog, like
Yep.
his spidey
Um,
sense tingles.
And once again in this episode, they go to work.
Yeah.
They go right to work.
Because they already knew that. I mean, because that's the thing too, is they already knew that this battle was happening.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Mhm.
they knew this party was going to get broken up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Because they knew
They do.
exactly the unit that was coming in.
yeah,
Yep.
So they go to work and do their jobs well, because afterwards they come out and it starts with Hammond and Colonel Blake. Hammond apparently hasn't had to do this kind of work in a while and was like, yeah, it kind of felt good to be back in the middle of it. Which is a weird, ironic thing to say about war and, this kind of work.
Is, but it's also like it's a trope of military
Yeah.
storytelling where
Mhm.
whomever it was, it's the Captain Kirk thing, right? Like Kirk was always getting promoted and then doing something to get himself knocked back down to captain so he could be on a ship
Right.
out in space instead of being an admiral. And here's this general who's the chief medical officer of the army, was a doctor, probably an army doctor in World War II.
Right.
it's like
And-
when celebrity chefs open a bunch of restaurants and then they don't cook anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when was the last
Right.
time you cooked? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here, he shows up with the idea that they're going to shut down this party and bust some heads, and then
Right.
with
And maybe
the
get
way,
some.
right, and see Hot Lips at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and then it becomes Hawkeye and Trapper John being like, yeah, okay, let's put a pin in that. We're going to go to work,
Right.
because this is what we do. And
Also, we're
these
short
boys,
on.
we're short-staffed,
short-handed,
and
We're short-staffed.
so hope you
these kids
remember
need us.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and JF makes a great point in the chat. Probably more about feeling useful rather than
Yeah.
pushing paper.
Yeah.
As a
Yep.
general,
well,
there's something to that too.
I was listening. This is a common thread. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the movie The Hurt Locker, when the dude like is a
Mhm.
bomb diffuser, and he comes back and he's like standing in the grocery store trying to pick out orange juice or something, and his just soul is broken because it's like, I've
Yeah.
been doing all this adrenaline stuff, like felt useful, had all these things going. Now I'm picking cereal. That's probably how they felt. Kind of like you got to, you're back in. You're like, oh, I remember this feeling of having something to do. An important job.
Right. And not only did he feel important, but he saw Hawkeye and Trapper work. And he specifically told Blake that those are two of the best surgeons he has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's dropping the charges, and he told him, do whatever you can to keep those boys and keep them working here, doing just as good a job.
I felt like a horse doctor compared to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, horse doctors do a lot of just shooting the patients, so I don't know. That seems bad.
Yeah. Maybe that was what
Yeah.
he meant. It's like, I don't know.
So
I wouldn't
he
have
has
known
to
what
get
to do.
back. He has to get back. Colonel Blake's like, well, it was, glad you could come, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, Radar, why don't we get those cigars? And Radar's there with the cigars being
Oh,
Radar.
I was gonna get you a box of your favorite. He's just a cigar.
Every time, I will never
It's
not
it never
love
it's so
Radar
good.
and Blake, especially. Because
Yeah.
again, Blake is just like the engine's running, but nobody's behind the wheel half the time. And Radar is just 2 steps ahead of him, playing chess and just getting everything for him and doing it. He's like, I've already got the general's transport ready to go. Here's the cigars.
Yeah, because it's so good. Because Radar's like, I called the general's chopper and it's ready to go whenever he leaves. And he's like, Radar, could you contact the general's chopper? Amazing.
Yeah. So the general leaves, and then Hawkeye and Trapper come out handcuffed together, being like, okay, we're ready to go wherever we need to go. And Colonel Blake's just like, yeah, you're off the hook.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay.
The bummer.
Managed to fail upward again.
Yep.
It's like it's the lesson to walk away with is if you're good enough, you can get away with just about anything. Because it was like
Mhm.
capital insubordination that he was playing. He's like, I don't have time
Yeah.
for you.
You poisoned
yeah.
a commanding officer.
Yeah.
That's not great, gang.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's Rain Man in the surgery room. That's all I know. Is how he gets away with it.
So they get away with it, and they just walk off, and start finding nurses along their walk,
Of
as
course.
they do, because
Yeah, why not? I mean,
that's
what
who
else
these
you gonna
guys
do?
are. They just kind of bounce from nurse to nurse, and that's pretty much the end of the episode until we get the final roll call sequence
was
for this
very
episode.
I like that.
Yeah. So we get the roll call and then the end credits as they normally go. And that was the pilot of MASH.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I need to ask, but what did we think?
I loved it. I was kind of stunned at how good it was because I really didn't know anything of what to expect, and I understand why it got more episodes because this was a killer pilot to kind of
Mhm.
set the stage of the kind of shenanigans we're likely to see. And it was the 70s, and they were like, "Oh, dudes and attractive ladies and jokes and whatnot." Like that sells. So that was pretty much a clear plot line they were going to chase there for a little while.
Plus,
But yeah,
Steven, you haven't even met Corporal Klinger yet.
I have
Ooh.
not.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I
Just
don't know
wait.
who we're talking about. This is a grand adventure for me. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. Amy, what about you?
No, it was good. I mean, like legitimate. Like, I understand that these are the tamest medical scenes that have ever been on television,
Yeah.
mhm.
and I'm still just like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, we've come a long way since then,
yeah.
depending on how you feel about it.
But I mean, like, I gotta tell you, like the misogyny and sexism didn't bother me at all because it is so far over the top that
Yeah.
you can't take it seriously. Like
It-
you're like you're like
It is that
no.
it's like when you watch, like for me, if I watch something like a movie like Punisher Warzone, where it is very violent, but it's like cartoonish levels of violence to the point
Mhm.
Or
where
like Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun
Yeah.
of the Dead is the same
Yeah.
way. Yeah, where
Like
it just
I
goes.
cannot do
it goes
violence.
so
I
far.
can watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like
Yeah.
it the first time because they told me it was funny, which it is.
It is.
It is.
But that
just
does not
not
tell you
just
what
funny.
else it is.
Yeah,
Right,
it's not,
yes.
it's not just funny. It's a scary movie with funny moments.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dawn of the Dead was. Dawn of the Dead had the same thing going on. The new one. The newish one. The Zack Snyder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Different kind of funny, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the level of like nonsense with these women, like it's like it's satire to a point. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like you're like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
You know what this show reminded me a lot of? You guys are probably familiar with it because you're movie people. There's a movie in '96 with Steve Martin called Sergeant Bilko, which was
Mhm.
based off of the Phil Silver show from the 1950s. And it feels like this took a lot. I know this was a movie and a book and whatever, but it feels a lot like the Sergeant Bilko kind of vibe, to me.
Yeah,
And I
it
mean, I
definitely-
definitely I see the DNA of Good Morning Vietnam,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is a movie I love the first half of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right up until
Yeah.
the bar, and then I'm
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
Like I'm all set,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's a rough second half.
Yeah.
There's
No.
two military films I like. I like the first half of Good Morning Vietnam and the first half of The Great Escape. It's like halfway and then you're out. Just get out.
Yeah.
Like Cocktail. Get out while it's still a fun movie about making
Yeah.
drinks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just get out. You don't
Yeah,
need to
dude.
watch the rest of it.
I think Stephen, you're right though. There's definitely like some sort of cross pollination and shared stuff with things like Sergeant Bilko and this, and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff, because it
Gomer
it
Pyle.
did use
Probably another.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it used the wartime setting for a framing device. This show in particular will get very dramatic and very funny. It'll get
Mhm.
slapsticky, but it
Right.
also will get very like heavy at times. and some of that is like changing writers
Yeah.
and whatnot. But
I mean, one of my favorite
worked
quotes
really
ever
well.
is from this show. It's Hawkeye's "War is war, hell is hell."
Mhm.
Quote that he has is unbelievably well written and so smart.
Mhm.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, dear listener, you can look it up. But it's out there and it's great. It's
In Futurama, they have the Robo Doctor Hawk Dash I, and he has a switch that's like irreverent and maudlin. And it'll be like, and he's on like maudlin, and he's like, this isn't a war, it's a murder. And then he flips the switch and he goes, this isn't a war, it's a moida.
That's good.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if anyone noticed him or not, but there was a young Bruno Kirby in this movie.
No.
As one of the privates in the, I think it's in the scene, I believe it's the scene where they drug Frank. He is Private Lorenzo Boone,
Wow.
Interesting.
Nice.
which I did not know until I looked up like cast. Because you had like all, again, Hawkeye, Trapper John, Blake, they're all the characters from the movie. Dish is from the movie, Burns. There's a particular character that is in this episode and in like 5 more episodes of the show that was also in the movie. Played by, so the actor that plays him in this episode was in the movie, but as a different character. And then they brought him in here and he plays Captain Oliver Harmon, who was the other doctor in the swamp besides Trapper John, Hawkeye, and Frank. He was the 4th one that was sleeping that said, I put in a wake up call for 1967. I won't use the name they give him because
It's not
it is
good.
unfortunate.
That was way worse than anything they said about the women.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah,
just bad.
That was one of those where it's like, ooh, that is.
I had to rewind it. I was like,
Dated.
did I hear that? Oh, no, I did.
Yeah.
I must have misheard. No,
No, you
No.
didn't.
I didn't. That is
Nope.
unfortunate.
Travis, anything else you want to say about MASH?
It's so much fun, which is weird to say for a movie about, set in the Korean War at a military hospital, but it really was. It's a fun show, and Steven mentioned it earlier, but it is such a great pilot because it gives you both sides of the coin right
Mhm.
away. You know what you're getting into, and you either buy in and you're in, or it's not your show and you can take off with it. But that, and just anytime Radar and or Colonel Blake are on screen, I just want the whole show to be that, honestly. And I love Alan Alda. Alan Alda is
Yeah.
great.
And, as the first time me really sitting down to watch it, I was super impressed with this. 1, it's just a pilot period. 2, as just how well this show was able to go from comedy to serious back to comedy. Like they
Yeah.
slipped, like
Yeah.
just
It's easy.
skated right into it as smooth as anything. And it worked. Like it didn't feel out of place. The comedy didn't feel out of place compared to the serious stuff. Like it was like the comedy was just their way of dealing with it. Like it
Yeah.
didn't feel like as over the top as it was. It was like I could see myself being this kind of person after dealing with that kind of darkness. More
It's
or less,
it's such a it speaks to the talent of the writers of the show, and it
Mhm.
speaks to the actors, because you often hear comedy and horror on like different sides of the coin. Like the same skill set applies to both approaches to a degree, because it's the bait and switch kind of thing that happens. But comedy and drama, like they're the two separate, or it's comedy and tragedy, but same idea. Like they're
Mhm.
two separate storytelling apparatuses, and when you can combine them like that, it's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because it
And you can do it
shouldn't
in a way
work.
that you do it in a way that doesn't feel forced.
Right.
To go from the comedy of, him calling the general Sarge
Yes.
and just being completely irreverent to immediately flipping the switch, and not only from the standpoint of us as the audience, but the character of Hawkeye going from, auctioning off a date with Lieutenant Dish and, working it out so it's Father Mulcahy that gets it. But then immediately, as soon as they hear that the helicopter's coming in, and he knew this was coming, and he's like, go time. Gonna go, go do my job and do it well, and then we'll deal with the fallout afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
So that was the pilot of Match. The first episode we're watching this month because we're doing more. Did we get any feedback about this at all yet?
Well, hold on. Let me check the ticker tape because I totally was prepared. Yes, we did indeed get some mail from our good friend A Stigma, who says, "Hey, all. Hope you all had a fun and safe holidays. This is a show that I've known about for many years, but had never watched an episode, but it's been referenced and mentioned many times over the years on episodes of TMS and Film Sack. The two main actors I recognize from this show is Alan Alda, who I'll always know as the President of the United States in Canadian Bacon, and Harry Morgan, who I know from the Dragnet show and movie. Looking forward to tonight's episode, and hopefully I'll be hanging out in the chat. Indeed, you are hanging out in the chat. If you would like to hang out in the chat Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time at twitch.tv/DudeOrgsTV. That's the only.
And where was that feedback received, Stephen?
It was received at Those Were the Days Show at gmail.com.
There you go. So you can feel free to email us there. Hit us up on Blue Sky at thosedayshow.blueski.socials. And all of our other socials are in the show notes. You can hit us up anytime. Tell us what you think about what we talked about tonight, what we're talking about coming up. Because next, Steven's got our next episode. Steven, what are we watching?
And I struggled with this because there's a temptation to just go to top rated episodes, right? And just click one. But no, I didn't want to do that. So I went scouring the internet for possibilities, and I found one that struck my fancy. Seemed like an episode that might work. And that episode is in season 5. It's episode 21, and it is titled Movie Tonight.
Ooh.
Which looks like a good time to me.
All right.
Based on the synopsis, because that's all I have to go on. It's difficult when you're picking a show you've never seen and trying to figure out like what you're gonna do. This is
awesome. That'll be fun for all of us because Travis is the only one who said he's actually seen the series in some way. So
well, and I like going to season 5 because there's going to be some changes that we'll be able to discuss. That happened between 1 and 5.
There we go.
So that's good.
I'm sure. So,
like it.
All right. Anything else we need to talk about tonight? Anybody need to promote anything or anything like that?
Do you need to promote something, bud?
Yeah, it sounds like you need to do some work.
I guess I should.
Let me just. No one. Oh, I'll just do it. No problem.
Check.
I honestly did not even think about that.
I know.
My gosh.
That's why I said it.
So I've got another podcast going right now with my buddy Jay Extra Lettuce called The Studio Window. It's a podcast that they've been wanting to do forever. Came to me, I was like, yeah, let's do that. So we're basically talking about creativity and just talking to folks about their creative spark and where it comes from and all that jazz. We recorded last week with Travis, and
he's all right.
He's fine.
It only took us an hour and a half to get through one question. So
did he Kevin Smith you? Is it like,
I
how are
channeled my
you?
inner Kevin Smith.
Let me tell you something, and just goes.
So no, it's been a lot of fun and something that just really feels like something we both have really wanted to do. We're kind of sticking to talking to folks around the podcast, the Frog Pants Network, just to kind of keep it in that house for right now. But we're hoping to take it farther than that. But that's where we're starting out. So if you're a fan of the Frog Pants Network, you'll probably recognize people and names that have been there. So, but definitely check that out where you get podcasts. I know it's on Apple and Spotify and stuff. So we've got a few under our belts. We've got several planned. So be looking for that.
And that is called The Studio Window.
Yes.
That's a good title.
That is a great title.
That's a very good title.
I'm going to listen tomorrow.
All props to Jay on coming up with that. They did a great job thinking that. And it was, the typical thing you do when you're coming up, like, what can we do that nobody's done before that, won't get
because then you
mixed
got to
up?
Google it, and then you find out there's like 30 of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And none of them have recorded anything in the last 10 years, but it doesn't matter.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, so many old shows made 3 episodes and just sat.
Yep.
Infuriating.
I think
You still hear people talk about the average podcast doesn't make it to 10 episodes as And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what is wrong with me then?
Yes. When they made that boy, they forgot to put in to quit.
Exactly.
Also, I would be remiss if I don't mention it because JF is in the chat and he did. But officially now, you can pre-order your copy of Aquilo Book 1
Yes.
at Barnes and
yeah.
Noble.
My. You mean a book
Wow.
based on the hit audio podcast made by J.F. DuBois and Amy
We
Frost?
sure did.
Oh,
We
my.
sure did.
What an
It's
amazing
intimidating.
story. I'm so excited.
Mm.
That's amazing.
It's going to be
Um,
great.
What's the word on when that's actually coming out?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
That feels like a date I should probably know, huh? Well.
That's exciting. And also, Stephen and I will be beginning recording of season 3 of 24 FPS Presents soon.
Boom.
See,
Now
I
it's
wasn't
a
the only
trilogy.
one that needed to be announcing something.
Yeah, we've done the pre-work. Now we got to do the real work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
by the way,
start
the title
recording.
is A Dash of Demon.
Ooh.
June 16th.
all right.
All right.
I guess if
I
we're all
knew I could get there.
I guess if we're all promoting, there's talk that this Thursday, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades will be returning to the airwaves at
Ah,
8:30
damn.
p.m.
Sweet.
We'll give it a take 7. We're gonna give it a try.
Look, the 47th try
The
is the charm,
47th
okay?
attempt, but dag nabbit if we don't want to jibber jabber on the internet for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah, bring it.
Yep.
Bring it. All right. Anything else we need to promote anywhere? Anything else?
Have your pets spayed and neutered.
There you go.
Thank you, Bob.
Perfect.
And on that note, until next week, when Steven brings us Movies Tonight, Season 5, Episode 21. For Steven, for Travis, for Amy, I'm Audie. And this has been Those Were the Days. Let's go watch some more MASH.
Attention all personnel. There have been reports of bad red rope licorice circulating the base. Do not eat the red rope licorice.